Hey guys, welcome to a Terraria with Yak guide for the Wall of Flesh on Calamity's Death mode on the Master mode of Vanilla. And in this episode, I'm going to go over the best loadouts and tips for beating the Wall of Flesh on this game mode. I want to do a voiceover commentary because I want to make sure I get everything in, and reading text is kind of boring, and I want to try to put a little more effort into my videos here. So what I'm going to talk about here is the weapons I'm using. You'll see I start off here with the arc, or the fractured arc, okay, and it's important to fill your fractured arc parry before you even enter the fight. You can do this by making a dummy. And it's in the Calamity mod. There's a recipe for it. It's like hay and wood. It's so easy to craft. So then when you start off the fight, you have that full fractured arc parry function, and you can start dealing a ton of extra damage. But then I don't think it's the best weapon throughout because you have to keep going up towards the boss to parry. So then I switch over to the Gelatic Blade. And the Gelatic Blade is great for one reason that I'll mention later, but it's great for the fact that it can go through walls, and it can go through, it can penetrate enemies, so the hungry that spawn in front of the boss, it'll go through them and still hit the eyes in the back. Another thing I want to note here is you also want to keep hitting the eyes because they do more damage than the mouth. I think there's some debate on that. The eyes, you deal more damage to the two eyes on the outsides of the boss rather than the mouth. Always aim for the eyes. Next thing here is the buffs you should be using. Try and have buffs for this boss, especially if it's your first time. You need to be using buffs, guys. It's going to greatly increase your chance of winning the fight. You know, irons, just the basic ones: iron skin, swiftness, regeneration. Those are your great buffs. The sharpening for melee, since we're playing melee class here, the sharpening station gives you that armor penetration. And even some of if you can somehow obtain the better buffs like Wrath and Rage, those are hard to obtain if you don't have other mods installed, like Alchemist NPC, but otherwise the basic buffs are fine. Next thing I want to talk about is the attack patterns of the boss and how to dodge each pattern. So the boss has two main phases. The first phase is defined by the purple lasers that the boss shoots, and the second phase is the red lasers. The red lasers deal much more damage, and they give you a damage over time debuff. And this happens after 50%. Okay, the boss is very straightforward. It goes from left to right, okay, as soon as you spawn it in, okay, or right to left, depending on which side of the world. Or actually, I think it's the way you're facing. I might have to check that again. But yeah, make sure you're always on the edge of the world, though, wherever you're going to spawn him in, and facing towards that direction. So I spawned the boss in from the left, so my character was facing in from the left, okay? Facing the left, so I could so it would come to the left side of the screen, okay? And the next thing here I want to talk about is obviously the lasers. So the lasers have kind of a pattern. So what happens is each eye fires lasers every few seconds. It's about 3 seconds maybe. But if the eye cannot see you, like if there's blocks in the way, it will delay the lasers, okay? And this leads into my next thing here I want to talk about is you can abuse block cover to your advantage, and the eyes will not be able to hit you there. And this is where the Gelatic Blade comes in even better, because the projectiles go through the walls, okay? You can see throughout my fight here, sometimes I'll fly up to the roof of the underworld biome where the boss eyes cannot hit me there because there's blocks in the way, like the ash blocks, okay? So utilize cover. Now the other thing I'll mention here is the death sickles, okay, that spawn in the boss throughout the fight, but they don't really start coming in until around, I think, like 60%, and then there onward the death sickles will spawn, and they start at the mouth. They'll spawn at the mouth, and depending on where you are, they will try to curve and hit you, okay? So the biggest pieces of advice I can give you here is do not let these death sickles hit you. If you let them hit you, they deal way too much damage, and I'll have a clip on screen right here that'll show you why you cannot let these death sickles hit you. They will ruin your entire run because they deal way too much damage, okay? That's pretty much it. Last thing I want to talk about is the wings over balloons. You have access to the skyline wings before this boss. Some people like the bundle of horseshoe balloons. It's really personal preference, but I highly recommend the wings because with the Statogeo armor, which is what you should be using, you automatically get an extra jump as your set bonus. So the wings gives you that extra time to fly upward, whereas you wouldn't get that with the bundle of balloons. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be uploading more videos soon. The next one will be Queen Slime, start of hard mode. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you.